George of the jungle, strong as he can be.
Live on Facebook. So, all right. So, well, welcome, boys and girls. We had there was 3 of us scheduled. Jason Eldridge isn't able to make it, so we will miss him for sure. He usually brings us good insight on what's happening in the building world, and what I could say is they're building as fast as they can. As many as they can. Well, some of them are actually a little rabbit trail, but some of them are staggering it out. So in other words, they're only going to release like 12 units. They all go under contract, and the next 12 units they release will be priced $10,000 higher. So, they're just, and I don't blame them, because if they released 100, they'd be gone tomorrow. So if they release 10, they'll be gone tomorrow, and then 2 weeks or a month later, release another 10, and then they'll be gone at a higher price. So, it's obviously a good time to be a builder. It's going to be a long time before they build before they overbuild, right? Because that's what happened in 2003, 4, 5, and 6. As they overbuilt, and then it all come tumbling down. Well, I don't see that happening anytime soon. And I'll get into some basic numbers with that. Let me share my screen real quick. Let me get my PowerPoint up and running. Then we'll talk about inventory. All right, let's get back to Zoom. All right, share screen. All right, where is it? There we go. All right, so boys and girls, so the 800-pound gorilla in everybody's conversation is inventory, right? And it is. Inventory is way down. So, but let's look at some of the numbers on that, right? So inventory is way down. If you look at the numbers, there's like in the MLS, there's like 2,400 listings. That's like virtually nothing. The same day last year, and I'll show you a chart on that. Well, that's before we go to that. So, but here's another number. 2020 was a record-breaking year in the number of homes sold. So, you got to say, okay, that's kind of like not adding up, right? So if inventory is way down, but we had a record-breaking year in units, something's not adding up right. So, so Salt Lake County, we just had over 19,000 units in Salt Lake County, and then over 53,000 statewide. Remember, this is MLS data, so any homes that were not in the MLS, but this is pretty much the lion's share of everything. So we have that data, but something is not adding up, right? We have like a fraction of the inventory, but we're having record number of unit sales. So let's look into why that is. Okay. So listings are way down, but active listings today compared to active to this. So if you do a snapshot of today's active listings, compare that to the same day last year, we're down 65% of the number of listings. That's huge, right? So, but let's look at that. So, however, when you compare active and pending, right, including those in a backup. So remember, backup is an under contract property, a sale pending that is available in the MLS to show and present a backup offer. Where if it's under contract, that means the seller is not showing the house anymore. But backup means you can show it and send a backup offer. So when you add active and pending, you get a whole different number. Then we're down significantly less, and we're only down 24.5%, which is still a big number, but it's nowhere near 65%. So let me show you the chart on that, what that looks like. So last year, this day, we had 6,800, and we thought that was low because in the peak years, or I guess it would be the down years, the peak number of listings were in the 14,000 range, and now we're down to 2,396. So like I said, it's down 65%. Backup is, close to the same. But here's the bigger number right here. When you have under contract, but you have to add these two together. So under contract, so when you add backup and under contract now, that's actually as many listings as we had before. So we have twice or 3 times as many pending as we do active. So all that. So what that means is we still have a good fair amount of listings, but they sell in days. I posted on our Facebook page, things you only hear in this market. It's been on the market 4 days. What's wrong with it? It's like, have you ever thought you'd hear that statement, George?
No.
It's been on it 4 days. It's something wrong with it.
Good problem. Yeah. Oh, we got to go in for a price reduction. 4 days.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, that's just an incredible set of numbers. But keep in mind, so really what that means is we have inventory, but it's just going fast. The difference is you cannot take a buyer out on a Saturday, show them 8 or 9 properties and let them choose. So when you have a buyer today, you have to go out every time something hits the market, and that's a challenge. I mean, that's a pain in the butt, So, but it is what it is. I mean, you have basically 2 options: roll up your sleeves and work based on today's climate, or go get in a coffin and wait. I mean, that's a Mike Ferry line. Go get in a coffin and wait. And it was one of the quotes I heard. Mike quoted it, but it wasn't his quote. I think it was Earl Nightingale, one of those or something like that. But he just said, if you're in a rut, rut is just a grave with the ends kicked out. I thought that was a good line. So the thing is, boys and girls, we have inventory, but like I said, it goes so fast, and it's a real challenge and it's a real skill. And I posted on the Wasatch Front Agents about, is anybody charging a buyer a retainer fee? And some people say they would never do that, blah, 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 blah. And hey, I'm here to tell you, if I were an active agent on the streets today, I would be charging a retainer fee. And the reason is just because I only want to focus on those that are going to do something, right? Because somebody's giving you a retainer fee, they're super motivated. And here's the thing, because if you figure, look, 2,300 listings, and 15,000 agents, I mean, obviously, it's going to take a well-experienced agent to get you a house in this climate, Yeah, you may, people are getting 18 offers, and it's the experienced agents that are, it's the experienced agent that are getting into the conversation. If somebody's got 18 offers, I mean, 12 of them are just going to be like, okay, we're not even talking to that. Let's narrow it down to this 6. How do we narrow it down to 3? How do we narrow it down to 2? That kind of thing. And so, and agents that have the experience to do that are the ones that are getting the deals under contract. And then the others are not. I mean, they're just frustrated. Their buyers are frustrated. So I would, it's real easy to say that a frustrated buyer would willingly pay a retainer fee to work with an agent that can get them a house. I mean, have you seen anything like that, George? Are you hearing retainers fees from agents?
The first time I've heard the conversation, but I mean, that's what professionals do, and the legal profession, and and a few other things. So I mean,
yeah, exactly. And I posted that question in a national Facebook group, and some agents actually posted the language in their standard state form, the buyer agent contract, that actually had retainer fee language right in it. So, and it was in places like Oklahoma. We're thinking, we think Oklahoma, we think, we're progressive, but I mean, hey, they're doing it. So, I know I would be doing it, and I would be, I would certainly be trying to work a little higher end. They're more apt to do it anyway. Joe Sixpack's probably not as excited about it, but they lose out on a half a dozen houses, they may reconsider. So here's the thing. So let me get to my notes. Let me see. So let's talk about, so I'll just share my screen and I'll go back to when we get to the interest rates, George, I'll go back to your thing you shared with me.
Okay.
So here's my notes, so, and this is why we're going to continue the way the market has been. What's 2021 going to look like? Well, it's going to continue to look like what we've had been, and it may even get worse. Who knows? So, because of our, so my notes are, and that's from me listening to James Wood, Lawrence Yun, and all these other forecasts that, James Wood said, we have such a diverse economy that we only lost 1% of our employment, and we may have had a lot in the beginning, and they were expecting to lose, a couple 100,000 jobs here in Salt Lake or in Utah, but that didn't happen. So we lost maybe 1 year of job growth, so that's so we already had a bottleneck, so the 1 year job growth, it's basically a speed bump in our world, because in the last 10 years, we've had almost 30% of job growth. And that's why we're faring well. In other words, because we've had such a high job growth over the last 10 years that a 1% job loss didn't hurt us that bad. We're forecasted to have about a 3.8% gain, which is about 60,000 new jobs, coming up. So we're going to have 60,000 new jobs. What does that mean? That means, that means, people coming of age are going to be able to buy a house. People moving in from out of states, where jobs are being cut. Look at Vegas. I mean, Vegas is pretty much a one-horse town, right? I mean, their whole industry is hospitality and entertainment. So that's that's got to hurt. Where we're so diverse, and we have Silicon Slopes, which just means everybody went home and worked, so they didn't even miss a beat. Real estate is an essential job, so we had maybe a 3-4 week, okay, what do we do now kind of moment. But once we recovered from that, we had a record year. We had a record year in Salt Lake County. We sold more houses in 2020 in Salt Lake County than any previous year. The next closest one was close, within a few hundred, was 2003, I believe it was. So, I mean, because I kept asking myself, why are we having a record number and yet we have no inventory? That doesn't make sense, right? Because in order to sell houses, you have to have inventory. We've had over 31,000 new, close to 31,000, just under 31,000 in new construction. And not all the new construction is in the MLS. So those new house, I mean, the number of units is actually going to be a little higher. And then the number we saw last 5 years, in Salt Lake County, we saw 56% growth in home prices. 5 years. That's amazing. Bought a house for 200, it's worth 300, if not more. And remember, that's across the board. So you could take zip codes and price points, and some of them, are a lot higher than that. But 5 years, I mean, that's a lot of money, a lot of growth. So let me see if anybody has any quick chats. So there's no chats or no Q&A. So if you guys, boys and girls, if you want to talk, let us know. There's only a handful of us on here, but it's going to be recorded. And we know that most of the people are not live. It's mostly the recording that watch it. So, part of the reason for the price is able to go up is interest rates, right? So you have interest rates and value are like a teeter-totter, right? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, interest rates and value are like a teeter-totter, and the fulcrum is monthly payment. So the borrower can pay $2,000 a month. If rates go down, then prices go up, and it's still $2,000 a month. If rates go up, prices go down, it's still $2,000 a month. And I've been, for the last 10 years, I've been saying, well, they can't go any lower, right? Have you had that kind of sentiment, George?
Oh, I've called it wrong more times than I've called it right. Because every year starts out with a forecast. Well, interest rates are expected to go up a little bit this year. That's the same forecast every year.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like our summer weather forecast. Today it's going to be hot.
Right.
Hot, no chance of rain till rainy season. So rates are, below 3 in some aspects, and the quota rate is challenging. I mean, there's so many variables on that. I mean, you get that every day, right, George? What's the rate? Well, it depends.
Yeah.
If you have, 800 credit score, 0 debt, 30% down, you're going to get a better rate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple.